The Weed of the Week is sponsored by the Enlist Weed Control System from Dow AgroSciences, a new herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate.
You work to protect your farm's legacy and to keep it going. Introducing the Enlist Weed Control System, an advanced herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate for exceptional control of tough weeds. The next chapter begins.
Our weed of the week is field bindweed, otherwise known as creeping Jenny.
You know, you talked about how wonderful Roundup Ready crops were, Brian, a few years back when it was controlling everything. Field bindweed was not one of those weeds. You know, we could go with the highest labeled rate of Roundup, and you may only get 80% control. And it gets back to that growing point discussion, because here we have a perennial weed that can reproduce with rhizomes moving underneath the ground. So you think, I sprayed every plant that's out there, I burned them down great, but then all of a sudden those rhizomes start shooting up new shoots.
Yeah, Roundup has never been good on any of those vine type weeds, morning glory, buckwheat, creeping Jenny. So what are we going to do to control this?
Well, you know, I like 2,4-D, Brian. The old 2,4-D works so nice.
That's not going to work too good in the beans, though.
When we'd see it in the fence line or in grasslands or in the pasture, that kind of thing, that worked nice. In burn down situations, guys like that. They also like dicamba a lot, which can be used in corn, so that's a benefit. Especially I like Status, but you can't get by with the Roundup Ready rate. You have to use a high rate, the full rate of the product, if you're going to do a nice job on bindweed.
Now, if I was out in pastures, I would probably go for something like Tordon. I think that's going to do a better job than 2,4-D, but obviously it costs a little bit more money.
Yeah, in soybeans, here's where the challenge gets to be. In broadleaf crops, it's really tough to kill those vines. You've got to have a nice burn down up front. You could use something like that high rate of Roundup. You could use some Sharpen in there.
I like throwing some Metribuzin in.
Yeah, there's a number of things that are good helpers, maybe not perfect on field bindweed.
I've also in corn, by the way, seen Hornet do pretty well over the years. But yeah, we've got more options in corn. Soybeans, it's kind of tough. I guess we're lucky we just don't see field bindweed very often in the soybean crop.
That's all the time we have for our Weed of the Week field bindweed, but Iron Talk is coming up next.